What I'm going to do is just give you a little bit of practical case study of how the arts can be integrated. And based on this title, you can see, I'm going to unpack this for you if we can go to the next slide. When I talk about arts-based, I'm going to give you two examples from visual arts. Obviously, the arts can be engaged through any media, through dramatic arts, through dance or movement arts. But the two examples or case studies I'm going to give you tonight are from the visual arts. So arts-based dialogic approach, basically that means right now you and I are having a conversation of sorts, a dialogue together. If we put art in there, it now becomes a dialogic approach where art is a media to that. So in other words, art enters the conversation. That's all that means. The third piece and the fourth, problem solving. In other words, in organization life, particularly management and education, we're constantly focused on trying to resolve or solve some sort of problem. My specific work has always been focused on the fuzzy front end, not that approach that gets into the commercialization or the technology aspect, but on that fuzzy front end where we're dealing with ideation, where we're dealing with imagination and the creative process. So kind of breaking that down for you, you have two images there. Just a quick show of hands, has anyone ever been to Banff? No? You probably have seen images though, and the image of the Banff Center where I was prior to coming to Cincinnati. The Banff Center is really Canada's premier institution for creativity and innovation. And a lot of the work we did there was bringing in leaders, executives, managers from around the globe. Typically about 60 countries a year would be represented, and people who were looking to sort of jumpstart creativity. And everything we did at the Banff Center was using the arts as a catalyst. So that's a little bit of where I come from. Where I'm at today is that image that you see of the School for Creative and Performing Arts, a K-12 institution. So my experience has spanned from the corporate to not-for-profit to K-12 education. But what you're here for is to engage with two case studies. So if we can go to the next. I'm going to explain to you, can you tell what this image is? A piece of stained glass art. And I'm just going to explain to you a little bit of this case study so that you've got some real sort of understanding of ways in which the arts can be used to inspire creativity and innovation, particularly in that process of management of innovation. A piece of stained glass. Let me back up to kind of tell you what got us to this. I was working with a healthcare system down in Columbus. You might be familiar with the Mount Carmel Health System. This occurred back in the mid-90s. At the time, I was working in a role as Vice President of Organization Development, and I was feeling a bit courageous because I was finishing up some doctoral work exploring the role of arts in organization innovation. The CEO came to me and he said, "Nick," and obviously I'm distilling this and making it much more simple than what it really was. But he said, "Nick, the merger between St. Anne's and Mount Carmel, it's just not working." We were about 6 months into it. He had essentially given up and said, "I think we're going to have to do a demerger." Because he explained to me, I'm not able to convince, I'm not able to explain, I'm not able to convey my vision to the executive team, and we're not successfully making this merger happen. In that moment I said, "Joe, can you allow me to try something?" And he was open too, because he was at the brink of failure with this merger. And I said, what I'd like to do is bring together the top 25 medical executives from Mount Carmel with the top 25 medical executives from St. Anne's. And I said, what I hear you saying is we're running out of language about how to talk about this merger, and we're not able to make the merger happen because we've run out of language. I said, what if we brought in an artist who might afford us some other language to talk about the merger? And he was open to it. There's obviously some very important things here. This was a Catholic healthcare institution. It's not like I could say, let's bring in dance, and dance could effectively. It wasn't about art as a solution, but it was art as a process. Because they were a Catholic institution, stained glass was an art form that was very prevalent. It was something that was seen every day. It was something that was talked about and honored. So we brought in a stained glass artist, and in a day's time, we had the 50 executives learn a little bit about making stained glass. But what we asked them was to represent where are we right now with this merger, and we had them in mixed teams. So 5 from St. Anne's with 5 from Mount Carmel, and we asked them represent what the merger looks like now. So in the end, we had about 10 pieces that they had created and then exhibited at the end of the day, along with cards, and we did a gallery walk. This was one of the pieces. And if you look at this, you can see that it's sort of an arrow. And when we asked the medical executives what this represented, they said, and they spoke to Joe, the CEO, they said, "Joe, we get it. We're supposed to be moving forward." And you can see there's forward movement expressed in this. They said, "We also get it that the blue that you see there of St. Anne's, which was their color, along with the maroon, which doesn't quite show up as well, of Mount Carmel, is meant to come together. We get that that's the vision. However," there was a very long pause, "however, look at the background. It's incredibly milky. It's ambiguous. It's confusing." Something happened in that moment as they were talking about this, and in fact, something very emotional happened. One of the CFOs from Mount Carmel pointed to the other CFO from St. Anne's and said, "Joe, who's going to be CFO of this organization?" And it was a moment of incredible heated sort of energy in the room. These things weren't worked out. These things weren't talked about. These things weren't ironed out in the way that you may have thought they would have been. And that one CFO said, "I have a daughter who's a sophomore in college. Am I going to be working in this organization next month, or is she?" That created a moment for us to begin unpacking what were the issues that needed to be resolved in this merger. Again, I'm very much oversimplifying this, but it created a wonderful moment for us to begin doing that. In the end, Joe, the CEO, said we're not going to go through with the demerger. We're going to keep moving ahead because we now knew what the issues were that we needed to begin talking about. I was convinced at that moment, that was about 15 years ago, that there was absolutely a role for the arts in giving us additional language, additional ways of talking about challenges in organization, because I saw it firsthand. So again, here's an example of how maybe the arts are useful in that fuzzy front-end process of visioning. If we can go to the next slide. This is something around values clarification. This was an organization that actually supports innovators as a consultant sort of agency. This organization had spent about 6 months doing some work with their own values clarification as an organization. They were getting bogged down. They were running out of language also in how to explain what it was that they were able to offer, what was their value proposition to the organizations that they were going to be consulting with. They brought in a visual artist, and the visual artist captured a depiction, that bottom image that you see there. There were 7 core values, and you can see there are 7 individuals in the imagery. This imagery then created a whole lot more conversation and potential for the organization to talk. And I'll just highlight a couple things here. You can see that there's one person off to the side. This was something that was very important to them. They said, we need to create space for us to move out of the organization, to do the innovation that we need to do to support others in their innovation journey. That was something that they weren't able to articulate before, but now they had a visual image that helped mediate that discussion. What this artist ultimately did is she created this top. You see the bottom was her actual artwork. The top, she created a blank canvas, and all she did was penciled in the bottom image. Then, the 24 individuals in the organization, you can see this is a 3x8 grid, were assigned one of these blocks, and were asked to pair off and to create these images again. So together they created this painting, or recreated this painting. They then placed it all back together. On the back, they did some free writing around the values. What did the values mean to them? They were pasted to the back. They were then paired up into learning partners, so this 24 blocks with 24 expositions of their thoughts on the values served as a weekly curriculum. So each of these individuals and their learning partners sat down over the next year every week with one of these blocks, pulling it off, using the art to focus them on the values. And they basically just had hour-long conversations around the values. This was something that led to very, very rich, deep, and meaningful ways of understanding the values. So I offer this merely as two case studies of the ways organizations from for-profit for not-for-profit are engaging with that fuzzy front end of not just talking about things like vision or values clarification, but using arts as a way to catalyze what I think are richer conversations. So the last slide, back to the School for Creative and Performing Arts. If you bring up one more, there we go. Up. One of the things we talk about at the School for Creative and Performing Arts, we talk about our mission as feeding hungry children. And sometimes that gets blank stares when I talk to an audience, particularly donors. But I go on to explain, yes, we're feeding those hungry children because these are children who are incredibly talented with an artistic talent, but we're feeding them through nourishment with the arts. And I think that's what a lot of our organizations are in need of too, that nourishment of the arts that might offer something beyond this purely rational, logical dialogue that we tend to feed people with in organization life. So I'm going to stop there. Am I within the 15 minutes?
Amazing.
Okay. So is it appropriate to open up here for questions? So I'll stop there. That's all I have. Questions. What did that bubble up? What did that stir for you? Is there any burr under your saddle that created? Any sort of tension? Or just I'll open it up to you. Questions or thoughts? Yes?
Okay. So what I got out of that is arts in terms of it helps you communicate politics out of people. So you know how when you get the organization, the bigger the organization, the bigger the politics.
Yeah.
They use the arts to actually drop those politics and more communicate through.
So just to repeat that for if you didn't hear, that maybe the arts allow us to kind of unravel the politics. Absolutely. I think what it does is there's a term that we talk about it. We call it analogically mediated inquiry, AMI. So the art is an analog for the politics, for the issues, for the conversations that we're not having. So as an organization, we can talk about the art, but what we're really talking about are the issues, the merger, the politics, the whatever it is. So yes, it allows us to focus the conversation through the art. That's a great observation and a way of describing it. Others? You have one?
I was wondering if you could share some light on how high knowledge or high potential artists are kind of evaluated into your school, and then as they transition to collegiate levels, if they're tracked more towards art paths, or if they are kind of given a blank canvas, so to speak, where they're looking at business and law and STEM education as well.
Yeah, so the question at the School for Creative and Performing Arts in Cincinnati, do the kids who graduate, are they tracked into a professional art career, or do they do other stuff? And we definitely take the other stuff approach. In other words, we know those statistics that Ray showed, that we want to make sure that they're able to pursue that passion of theirs with arts, but that they also have a fallback, a plan B. So in other words, you might be an amazingly talented visual artist, and there might be an opportunity to engage with Procter & Gamble in very high-end, sophisticated, well-paying branding work, given that visual arts. So we try to help the students understand that yes, you can pursue your arts passion and there might be application in organizational life for you as well. And we don't really try to judge or evaluate one as being more important, but for us it's a both and, not an either or. Anyone else?
Yes.
Yes, Ray.
I want some fight today, right? So, how do the artistic rags tell the cat who wants maximized profit?
Say that again for me.
So, does it have to trickle down from the top, or can people at the bottom of the organization also urge the leadership to go in this direction?
Oh, absolutely. The question, does this come from the top down exclusively or can there be bottom up? I'm very interested in the bottom up kind of approaches, particularly where art can be used as a form of resistance. And we see this around the globe today, particularly with what's happening in the Middle East or in any area of conflict. The arts are often those first voices of resistance. And I think it's something that we as a society need to encourage. The role of arts is often those courageous first voices telling us that something ain't right. Whether it's around social justice, whether it's around conflict, peace, or whatever those issues might be. But I think there's absolutely a role for arts in our society in being that voice. And in organizational life as well. Often those things that we can't express to the boss or in the organizational context can be expressed artistically within the organization. And I'll just tell you briefly some research that I've done around organizational song. Songs that might get sung, for example, at Christmas parties. What I found is there's wonderful examples of employees creating songs to known tunes, Jingle Bells, Frosty the Snowman, etc. But they're creating these songs about people in the organization, particularly maybe bad people in the organization that they want to bring to light, but they could never have that conversation with the person, but they can get together and sing about it. So I think there's absolutely a place for arts in a form of resistance in organizations as well. I'm probably pushing up at 15.
No. So let's do this. We'll have 3 to 5 questions after each speaker.
Okay.
And then we'll have a general discussion.
Okay, there's one more here.
Yeah.
So are you taking any steps to attract students towards art in your school? You take any extra steps to attract talent to your art school?
Is the question, how are we attracting students to the art school? Yeah, so we do market the school to the general public. And I have to tell you, there isn't a whole lot of marketing that's required. There's a tremendous interest. At least in Cincinnati, there's a lot of students who are saying, I've got some talent in instrumental music and creative writing and drama and dance in any one of those 7 majors that we offer. And those students typically find their way to us. We'll often use the language of what we're about in our marketing is that we help students find their voice. And obviously we're not just about teaching them technical skills in their artistic form, but we want them to find their voice so that they can express who they are as human beings. And that, I think, has import not just with students, but with you and I as well, right? I think it's a general human desire we have of wanting to find our voice. Artists just happen to find it and express it through some artistic means.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.